Welcome to Chris Parkin Shooting Sports. This is the ATA Turqua Synthetic Black Adjustable in 308. And this is quite an interesting rifle. Sportsman Gun Centre have sent me this. And, well, to get it straight off the bat, the retail price on this is £599. Now, that doesn't sound a lot, and you think, well, that's quite a cheap rifle. Do you know what? I've reviewed it just like I normally do shooting it, and I have to say, there's a lot to say. Nothing really bad either. Right, let's start out. So, you can have this with a green stock if you want. It's an extra 50 quid. So, if you want that, great. If you don't, that's 50 quid you don't need to spend. But it will look a bit different. I think it looks fine in black, but you know, horses for course, it's your choice. The barrel is button rifled. It's available in 20 or 24 inch, depending on which calibre you have. The rifle's available 243, 308, 65 Creedmoor in the 20 inch, but the 24 inch is 65 Creedmoor only. It's threaded at the muzzle, 15x1 for a moderator, and the diameter of the muzzle is 18mm. So it's a little bit heavier than some sporting rifles, but that's not really a bad thing. I've run the bore scope through it. Yeah, it's not perfect, but I've not seen any sort of major flaws that sort of set alarm bells ringing. So, you know, that's fine. And I've done that after shooting. It doesn't seem to be performing badly in that respect at all. I think like a lot of barrels, it'll probably settle down after it's had, you know, 50, 60 rounds through it. But actually, straight off the bat, as ATA promised themselves on their warranty, which is 3 years long, it will do sub MOA 3 shots. No problem at all. Just remember, I shoot my targets at 100 metres, not 100 yards. So that's an extra 9% of difficulty for it. Still passes no problem. And thank you to Hornady for all the ammunition. One of the big things about this is they want to make sure that we're all set up for the future and we can shoot copper bullets fine as well. So I reviewed copper through it, as well as 150, 165 grain lead bullets. I used 165 grain copper bullets too. Again, not quite as tight a group, but totally adequate for hunting requirements. I've had the rifle out of the stock. The fore end has got significant amount of ribbing in it, and the stock itself is rigid. It fully free floats the barrel, and you can see in the video where I've canted it around a little bit, there's no contact, there's no shifting point of zero. So I'm very happy with that. They call it monoblock, but essentially this flat bottom receiver, it's all steel receiver, the flat bottom receiver fits in a big flat inlet in the stock, and there's not really any perceptible action stress going on in there. The two bolts, front and rear here, both got nice big Allen heads on them, and they've got little steel pillars that prevent the stock from getting compressed. And when you tighten them down, they go da-da-da-da, stop. That's that. All is good with that. So I'm quite pleased with that, to be honest. Now, continuing on the steel tone, obviously steel action, steel barrel, we've got a steel Picatinny rail. The Picatinny rail is screwed in 4 places. It looks Remington 700 dimensions to me, which is fine. Steel Picatinny rail is possibly the simplest, most straightforward, most reliable form of scope mounting, and it will take any sight you can fit Picatinny onto, which is pretty much everything. So that's also good. I put some low rings on here. These are Element Optics rings, and I've put a 50mm scope on, which is an Element Helix 2-16. Perfect for this kind of rifle. I've also, as you can see, put a Harris bipod on because it's got sling studs front and rear, which is something that you pretty much need as mandatory from any rifle. Right, let's look at the bolt and the trigger. The bolt comes out on the left side. There's a left side bolt catch just there, and you've got a 3-lug bolt. Works in a conventional way. It's a push feed, so you've got a large extractor claw there, and you've got a plunger ejector pin there. Flicks the brass out. You can see that very happily on video. This is feeding from a detachable magazine, and you'll also see on the video that if you just drop around on top, it will feed to the chamber, no problem at all. Now the 3-round magazine is in it. You get a 5-round magazine with it as well. So horses for courses, you can choose which you want to shoot with. The bolt shaft is actually fluted just for a little bit of weight saving, a little bit of, looks nice. And it will also shed dirt and debris a little bit if it gets bunged up. The bolt travel, in fairness, is extremely smooth. And the bolt handle shape is, well, it's got that characteristic shape to it that I've seen on 4 or 5 rifles which have excellent bolt transit. Very easy to use, and you just can't jam the bolt with them. So again, I can't knock that at all. It's a simple bolt knob, curved arm, slightly nailed on it. It's nothing too excessive, and of course it can't over torque the bolt, and it's fast in operation, as you can see on the video. Being a 3-lug bolt, it opens 60 degrees, so you've got no issues hitting your hat, hitting the scope, anything like that. And it had, generically, and it had totally intuitive bolt operation. You can see me shooting it pretty much how I want. I did tend to load it single to the chamber and 2 in the mag just for the sake of doing that, because I wanted to check out whether it would single load off the top of the mag, which is done, and I'm happy with that. You can load the bolt at any speed. You can also extract and eject at any speed. Speed is nice for speed, but it's also nice to run it slowly if you want to be quiet. On the side of the rifle here, we've got 3-position safety catch. All the way rear, safe, bolt locked. Centre position, it's still safe, but the bolt can now operate. Forward is fire. The trigger is a 2-stage unit, and I'll do a safe dry fire here. So you've got first stage there, second stage there. It's adjustable from 800 to 1600 grams, and on this rifle, I've checked it out, it weighs in exactly 1000 grams, which is 36 ounces. And I think for a hunting rifle, generally in use in cooler climates, UK, etc. like that, that's going to be absolutely fine. And of course, being a synthetic stock, you've got no problem with any kind of swelling or warpage of the stock, any problems like that. Overall weight of the rifle is 3.6 kilograms, which is 8 pounds, and overall length is 1040 millimeters, which is 41 inches. Length of pull is 14¼ inches, or 365 millimeters. That really, in my opinion, is something that makes this rifle stand out as a quality European rifle, and it is very comfortable to shoot. Now 308's sort of, it's a nice little cartridge because it's got enough recoil impulse that you can feel what a gun goes like, but it's not excessive, it's not painful or anything like that. I shot it without a moderator, just because I wanted to see what it was like shooting a 308 without a moderator for a change. And the rifle gives very linear recoil transit, not too much muzzle flip. The barrel, 18mm at the muzzle, is possibly a teeny little bit heavier than some barrels, so it does give it a bit more stability, a little bit more deft handling in that respect, and it's ever so slightly sort of nose heavy, but you know, that's going to depend on what scope you put on it, what moderator, bipod, slings, things like that. You do get an additional length of pull spacer with it, so you can put that on if you want, and it comes as well with 2 sling swivels, so you can add those Allen keyed here for little tools, and you get an instruction manual which has got quite a lot of detail in it about setting the rifle up, and of course that 3-year warranty. Here's the little marker which shows you it's got sub-MOA guarantee on it. That's not the actual target that's been shot. If it was, that would be definitely sub-MOA, and that goes to show that ATA are very confident in their equipment. That's the 5-round magazine. Just pop those out the way, because the last thing to show you is the adjustable cheek piece, because if you press this button on the side here, it's a little bit stiff to start with, but that just unlocks the cheek piece, and the cheek piece can then just be put in whichever position you prefer to get you the scope alignment you want. So if I put it there, for example, I'm really having to squish in to get onto that scope, so it's a bit higher than I would want. I probably generally run it about there. But importantly, not only is it vertically adjustable, it's a nice shape. It's fairly slender, it's level across the top, so it's not kicking into your face through recoil. Recoil pad is a very simple, straightforward design. You've got a rubber butt pad here, and you've got a polymer rim just at the top there, and that helps you prevent it snagging on clothes when you're mounting the rifle into your shoulder. So again, that's a nice little feature they've added. So overall, what can I tell you about this rifle? Well, quite frankly, I actually double checked the price because I wasn't sure if it was a bit more than it was, but no, it is £599. I've reviewed rifles at all price points, you know, from second-hand rifles at £250 all the way up to some extremely expensive new rifles at sort of £10,000. They all have, you know, pros and cons to them, but a £10,000 rifle really has no excuse whatsoever to be anything other than perfect. It can't afford any excuses. It has great charisma and personality. People will or won't like it, but it functionally has to be excellent. Similarly, very cheap rifle, yeah, you might have to forgive it a little bit more, and then not everybody can afford a super expensive rifle, and they do still need that inexpensive economy rifle to work perfectly. Well, frankly, they don't all work perfectly, and some of them have got, you know, okay, they work, they'll shoot small enough groups if you want, but they're hard to shoot. They don't function smoothly, they don't function cleanly. Things like the bolt travel is a bit clunky, the triggers aren't great. Well, that's the thing with this rifle. There's nothing wrong with it at all. If you'd have told me this rifle was £1,200, I think other than just the matte coating on the barrel, I might have thought, yeah, it's excellent. I mean, what's missing on this? It's a 3-lug bolt. We've got 3-position safety, 2-stage trigger, detachable magazine, adjustable cheek piece. The gun shoots calmly. The barrel is good. It cleans well. It's getting a little bit smoother as it got through the review process. And when I got to about round 40 or 50 or so, it was really, you know, quite happily just clover leafing some of the bullets I was shooting through it. Even with the copper bullets, which are generally not actually usually quite as accurate as lead core bullets, it still easily beat its MOA guarantee. So, how can I sum this rifle up? Well, fortunately or unfortunately, it's actually very simple. If you want a stalking rifle for the UK, brand new, 20-inch barrel's great in 308, go for the longer barrel if you want, go for the green if you want. 243's maybe not as popular these days as the 6.5 Creedmoors and still the 308. But here's the thing, that will just do everything you need and it won't disappoint you. I shot quite a few rounds to it at the later stages, and even at sort of 10 or 12 rounds through the barrel getting quite hot, point of impact hadn't shifted. It also wasn't wavering around. Yeah, the group wasn't quite as small. It was probably, you know, just getting up to just a little bit over a minute of angle, but it didn't really vary in a thermal way. It was reliable. This is all about being able to get new shooters into shooting without needing to spend huge amounts of money. You could take this to the range for the day and shoot, you know, distance at 300 meters, 600 meters, whatever you want, something like that, and it's going to be okay. You're going to enjoy it. The recoil pad's great. You're not going to have any problems with it kicking you too much, and it's quite nicely weighted, with the barrel just being a little bit front heavy, keeps it a bit more stable. And if you put a moderator on that, which frankly most people these days are, that is really going to be super calm as a rifle. So there we go. This is the 88 Turqua synthetic black adjustable rifle, and I have to say, this is the best £600 rifle I've ever shot. It's actually better than a lot of £800, £1,000 and £1,200 rifles, in fairness. So there you go. Right, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell, keep track of the regular uploads, because, well, I kind of want to keep shooting this just to see if I can destroy it or something, but there's no sign at all it's going to get anything go wrong with it. Nothing's loose, nothing wobbles, nothing shakes, nothing's coming adrift. It's great. Right, thanks for watching. Bye for now.